CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
We are live at the home of the Miami Dolphins. The Bills and the Dolphins meeting for the second time this season. Buffalo winning without an offensive touchdown in November 1914 over the Dolphins. Weather couldn't be better. Temperature in the 70s, a little breezy, no threat of rain. And the Bills, who have won the toss, have elected to defer. They'll send their defense out first. There's their kickoff man, Ryan Lindell. And back for the Dolphins is their ace returner, Marcus Thigpen. Ball is in and out of the end zone for a touchback, and so the Dolphins will go on offense from their 20. Quarterback Ryan Tannehill, coming off his best game in a win over Jacksonville last week. He had a quarterback rating of over 123. 8th pick in the draft. The Dolphins moved up to get him out of Texas A&M. And a very smart guy, they say, Randy, and getting better with each game.
And his biggest help will definitely be Reggie Bush. Reggie averages over 80 yards rushing at home games.
Bush at 895 rushing for the season, 105 short of 1,000. And Reggie Bush is the man and doesn't get much. George Wilson, one of the safeties, comes up and gets him as we look at the rest of the Dolphins on offense. Rookie left tackle Jonathan Martin, blocked for the last 3 years for Andrew Luck at Stanford, an All-American offensive tackle. Skill position, Brian Hartline was injured, didn't practice much, and then he's in there though, and Reggie Bush is the go-to guy today. He'll get the ball a lot.
Keep an eye on 95, Kyle Williams inside, Don. He can be really disruptive. Was in the backfield on the first play.
Williams, 95, the veteran tackle from LSU, and here's an underneath throw. And Kelvin Shepard is quick to make the stop. Here's the Bills on defense. Williams, a defensive end, 10.5 sacks, signed a contract that guarantees him $50 million. Coming over from the Houston Texans in the offseason. 3 linebackers. They have 1 rookie starting in Bradham. Bird is having a great year. 5 interceptions at safety, 3 fumbles forced, 2 recovered. It's 3rd and about 4 now for the Miami Dolphins as Tannehill takes a look. Well-timed throw. And there he is, Randy. Reggie Bush out of the backfield.
When you got a player like Reggie Bush, he's got a pitch count, and I don't mean a pitch count in a negative way. Ryan Tannehill's very aware we've got to hand it to him or throw it to Reggie Bush at least 20 times in a football game. And great example, he came into this league as a good receiver, and he's only expanded those abilities.
That is his target number. They want to get him at least 20 touches today. Running from scrimmage and catching passes, he's very good at that. Now he goes inside again. And a penalty marker is thrown.
It's going to be encroachment, offsides on the defense.
Offside, number 95, defense. 5-yard penalty.
Kyle Williams out of his stance too quickly, so it's a 5-yard mark off against the Bills.
And the Miami Dolphins were doing pretty good injury-wise until the last few weeks. They come into this game. Best out. Thomas was hurt last week. Carroll was hurt last week. Clay was hurt last week.
Right now it's 1st and 5 for those Dolphins, and again they go to Bush. Now there was a knock on him, really, Randy, that he wasn't an inside runner, but coaches will say he'll run inside all day if that's what you ask him to do. He'll run power.
Yeah, you know, he made the point in the offseason. He said he wanted to lead the league in rushing. I think every running back in the league wants to do that. But part of his MO was that he wants to prove to people that he's not just a situational, got to take me off the field when you need the tough yards. And in this new spread out NFL, you know, there's space inside for him to run.
They've been using him a lot. Second and a short 2 for the Dolphins on this opening drive. They need to get to the 50-yard line. Bush. They get that. And plenty more as Bush breaks into the secondary of the Bills and is down to their 41-yard line. Jarris Bird, last line of defense. A safety gets him, but after a 10-yard gain. Big block by Martin.
Well, the most impressive part of this is twofold. One, Mike Pouncey gets a really nice block. He incognito inside, but did you see that jump cut? That's something that Reggie Bush can do really well. That's that ability to go forward in one direction and suddenly just jump sideways and move about 3 yards without losing speed.
Lamar Miller's now in the backfield on a first down in this opening drive for the Dolphins. Fastball on target to the 34-yard line of the Bills. As off the tight end slot side, it's Anthony Fasano with the catch. Good for a 7-yard gain.
Well, take a look at it from Tannehill's perspective, and more importantly, there are no blue jerseys impinging on his view. Not in his face to bat it down and not around him to threaten his body. So you let this young quarterback stand there and throw, he can chunk it.
He's got a big arm, he's rangy, very tall, and he's a good runner. Here now is the handoff to Lamar Miller, rookie from the Miami Hurricanes program. Miami guy through and through, high school, college, and now the Dolphins. And he's taken down by outside backer Nick Barnett, but every down they're getting plus yards, Randy.
Yeah, this offense has got to be more consistent, but it's going against a defense. It's allowed 4 times during the season 45 points or more, and last week had an absolute meltdown against Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, especially with any kind of read option look.
Well, he was cutting back and just tore him up. First down. Tannehill gets time, and out pattern off the hands of his receiver. Going high for the ball was Marlon Moore. Aaron Williams on coverage. You can see there he's got a big arm, that time too big, Randy.
Well, and Marlon Moore, that ball's right in his hands. He's got to hold himself responsible for that, and that's one of the questions going into the day was who was going to be the replacement for Devon Bess, who's out of this game, as that second receiver. And if it's not Moore, got to take a look at Armand Ben.
2nd and 10. Bush looking for a place to go, does drive it inside the 30-yard line of the Bills. And the linesmen come in virtually no gain on the play. Darius made the stop.
Well, look at Darius inside 99 doing a very nice job, as did Williams. Everyone stayed in their gap, and that's an example of a play that Reggie Bush a couple years ago might have tried to bounce it outside, might have lost yards. He's learned to kind of live another day, live another play, and go ahead and bury his head in there and say, okay, I'll get 0.
Now, Randy, we have a 3rd and 10, 10th play of the drive for the Dolphins. Looking to screen it. Incomplete, out of bounds. Hartline was the target. Mario Williams putting heat on Tannehill. Brings up 4th and 10.
And when you're expecting the quarterback to be behind the center on a screen, well, the screen's not there. The screen's being diagnosed. The pressure from Williams comes late, mainly because Tannehill's trying to draw that pressure to him.
No kicker for the Dolphins. Nate Kading came in off the waiver wire from San Diego, where he was tremendous, and the Bills get a piece of it. And they blocked the field goal, so Miami with an extended drive, but no points.
Alex Carrington got another kick inside 92, defensive tackle.
That's the 3rd time this season that Alex Carrington's blocked a field goal attempt.
Does a very nice job of pushing Richie Incognito back. The guard pushes back Incognito, gets in the gap, and gets himself a piece of that ball.
Nate Kading, his field goal attempt blocked by Carrington of the Bills. So the long opening drive of the Dolphins comes away with no points. Now it's the Bills on offense for the first time today with the veteran Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback. And he's going to fire on first down. Underneath to Spiller. What a weapon he's been. C.J. Spiller with his 38th catch this year. That was for 14 yards, Randy.
Well, look what C.J. Spiller does once he gets the ball in his hand. Once he gets this pass, he does something you can't coach. It's God-given, and that's accelerate. He completely runs away and starts accelerating away from defenders. That's something that drives defenses nuts when they face C.J. Spiller.
He's been giving everybody problems. Spiller averaging 6.5 yards a rush. That's the best in a single season for any Bills back in their history. They go back to 1960. Looked like Urbic might have Let's see what the call is. False start indeed against the Bills.
5-yard penalty.
Walt Anderson, our referee. Ryan Fitzpatrick, in his 8th year from Harvard, you see his numbers. Interceptions have been a problem. Chan Gailey, the Bills coach, told us last night it's imperative we keep Ryan secure in the pocket. The interceptions have been a result of largely an injured offensive line and a big rush on him. He's daring. He'll fire it hard all over the field.
Cameron Wake, the defensive end at the bottom of the screen right there. That's the pressure.
On 1st and 15. On target. What a beautifully executed pass play to the tight end, Scott Chandler. Coming off the left flank. He's down to the 29 for a 25-yard gain.
Scott Chandler coming from the tight end position. Excellent job coming off the line, heading right up the seam of the defense. That had to be a blown coverage because he was absolutely free. It was a zone coverage, but it looked like there was some man working underneath.
It looks like Chandler, Randy, was injured on the play as he's having his left leg looked at. So we'll take a break here at Miami.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Lego. Build a moment together, one Lego brick at a time. And by Acura. Acura. Advance.
The Bills with a 25-yard pass play to their tight end Chandler, but he's gone off the field with a leg injury. And right now the Bills on 1st down give it to Spiller, who finds a way inside the 20, down to the 25-yard line, inside the 30 with Burnett on the tackle. You see Chandler on the bench. He's been a tremendous acquisition as an unrestricted free agent from Dallas.
Hey, you know, Don, they're going to put him straight on the cart and take him inside right there, that plant of the left leg. He gets up, but it almost looks like he's grabbing his hammy, but he's not. There was that last plant, a little high-speed wobble in his knee, and they're going to have to go inside and check that thing out.
Big loss. That was Chandler's 43rd catch of the year. 2nd and 5 for the Bills. Behind the gain, the 20. Beautifully executed slant, and the Bulls cough it up, and the Dolphins have it. Stevie Johnson gets a perfect throw, and then the ball is recovered by Rashad Jones.
Ho, ho, ho. A defense that hasn't been able to get gifts gets themselves a turnover. It's definitely a catch. Stevie Johnson puts it on the ground, and that's exactly what this Dolphin defense needs.
Aerial coverage of today's game is provided by MetLife. With Randy Cross, this is Don Criqui at Sun Life Stadium, Davie, Florida, outside of Miami. As the Bills' long drive results in a turnover by Stevie Johnson, who made the catch.
Yeah, Sean Smith working against Stevie Johnson. Johnson escapes well, but then Sean Smith comes in and rakes that ball away. Johnson has it, has moved up the field, making a football move before that ball comes loose.
So the Dolphins, who opened the game with an extended drive, 11 plays, and then they had their field goal block, get it again.
One more time, Don. Fitzpatrick puts it right on the money. Ball's there, it's away, whang. I mean, it goes into the left arm, it's secured, and it's no sooner secured and he's moving upfield than Sean Smith knocks that thing right out of there.
Did they work on the strips as much when you played? I mean, it's really a big...
Oh, yeah. Well, remember, this is a defense, Don, that went 7 games, a 7-game streak with 1 turnover. I mean, that's almost unheard of. And that's something they work on, they address it. You know, Joe Philbin said we talk about it every day in practice. We talk about getting the hand in there, knocking the ball out, stripping the ball out, creating tips, creating interceptions.
Another look.
Sean Smith is coming off from an off position, and Stevie Johnson never really sees him coming. That's really to Sean Smith's advantage, because he not only can see the receiver catch the ball, he can see exactly where that ball's going and does a nice job of raking that right arm through there and pulling the ball out.
That was Johnson's 70th catch of the season.
Ruling on the field, stands.
70th reception for number 13 Johnson, but you saw it ended badly for the Bills, and now the Dolphins will go from their 38-yard line with no score yet in the first quarter.
And Buffalo's turnover differential, obviously will suffer because of that. And this is a Miami Dolphins defense that has not been able to cause those turnovers. It's really kind of out of character, but a good out of character for Joe Philbin.
Joe Philbin, so that's his biggest lament there. Now look at breaking it open field as Reggie Bush putting on that stutter step, and again it's a safety who stops him from going a lot farther. George Wilson.
Okay, it's a read option. Mario Williams and company is what is being read on the inside. And all of a sudden, you get a collapse inside. Great job by Jonathan Martin. He wants to choose inside, take him inside, and gives the ball to Reggie Bush. He's wide open.
So the gain is just short of first down yardage, got 9.5, and Reggie limping a little bit when he came off there, Randy. Rookie Lamar Miller goes in. Scott Chandler looked like he wouldn't be back the rest of the day with a right leg injury after a 25-yard catch a bit ago. Miller getting some great blocking, power blocking. John Jerry and center Mike Pouncey.
Well, Lamar Miller gets yards inside, just jamming it in there. Let's take a look at what happened to Reggie. He comes down a little funny on that ankle. It looks like right there at the end. Watch that left ankle. There, all the weight goes on there. It kind of turns a little bit. That can put a little hitch in your get along, either your ankle or your knee.
See if he comes back in. Reggie Bush, the go-to runner for the Miami Dolphins on 1st and 10.
Good job, Richie.
Hit ball. Nicely done by Nigel Bradham, outside rookie linebacker from Florida State. Target was Bryant Hartline.
And Bradham's just screening. He's in the left part of your screen there. He's screening the running back. Miller stays in the block. He just stays right there, gets his hands up, and knocks that ball down.
2nd and 10 for the Bills at the Dolphins. For the Dolphins at the Bills 43. Bills come with 4. Dolphins go to the run. They're getting running power right at the middle of the Bills defense and getting yards. Fasano with a good block. Nick Barnett with the tackle.
Well, they're running right behind Mike Pouncey, Rich Incognito, and Martin, the rookie left tackle. And right now they're getting excellent surface block-wise all over these defenders for Buffalo, giving the running backs a great space to select inside.
So now on 3rd down and 6 for the Dolphins. Line to gain is the 33-yard line of the Bills for the first down. Tannehill out pattern, well-timed throw, first down Dolphins inside the 30-yard line down to the 29. Ryan Hartline.
It was questionable coming into this game. Hartline was 82 with a stiff back, but he was running great in warm-ups. And right there does an excellent job of driving that route right into the rookie Stephon Gilmore's lap and then driving off into the out.
So the Dolphins with their second good drive and as many possessions, their opening drive of the game, resulting in the blocked field goal. Hayden tried it. Harrington blocked it. 1st and 10 from the Bills 29. Miller, good bounce outside move. Middle backer Kelvin Shepard got him. And Hartline came in and blocked there, Randy.
Yeah, I'd say you've got to love what Lamar Miller does, because when he makes a decision, he's going. They're pulling Richie Incognito on the power. Miller decides to go outside. And once he puts that foot in the ground, he is gone. When they run that power play, they will run it to the right. Incognito, a much better puller than the other guard, John Jerry.
Miller, good per carry average, very good, 5.4 per carry for the season. Right now the handoff is again back to Miller. Nothing in the middle, and goes to the outside and gets some. Really very close to a first down, apparently just short of it. Needed to get inside the 20. He got to the Bills 20, where he was stopped by defensive back Justin Rogers.
A good lesson as to why you don't try to bounce outside too much in this league. So much speed, and Reggie Bush back on the field with a little extra tape on that left ankle.
Bills defense stiffens now. It's 3rd down and 1.
Go!
Again, they run power right at the Bills and get the first down. Reggie Bush looking all right after that momentary respite.
Well, Mike Pouncey is starting to really hold his own inside as a center. What a wonderful job number 51 does at center. Mike Pouncey just drives inside and does a good job working against Alex Carrington, who had blocked the field goal earlier.
Pouncey, an outstanding center in his second year from Florida. Brother, a standout player for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and here is Bush swinging in with him throughout. Did he get in? He did! Touchdown signals given. The Dolphins are on the board on a reception by Reggie Bush.
I have got to think it was a scoring play they're going to review, but did he have the ball in his possession when it goes over this cone or inside the cone? This is textbook Reggie Bush. Speed to the outside. Just reaches. It's in his hand. That's a touchdown. I don't think he stepped out of bounds with the right foot right there when he leaped.
They review all scoring plays. Reggie Bush in contract year. He's in his final season of his contract with the Dolphins.
Ruling on the field is a touchdown. Previous play is under further review.
The question will be, I was wrong, it won't be possession. It will be where was that right foot when he launched himself towards the pylon with the ball firmly in his grasp with his left hand.
So while they review it, we'll take this break.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Autotrader.com. Now compare new and used cars and find the best deal on Autotrader.com. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
Let's look again now, Randy, as Reggie Bush dives for the end zone. They ruled on the field. Touchdown, maybe not.
Concentrate on his right foot on this next step right here. As we zoom in right to this area right here, you can see on the outside there's some white outside the white. And when the divot comes up, part of the divot is in the out of bounds area. I got to think they're going to rule this as an out of bounds right at that spot and bring the offense back out on the field.
Here's Walt Anderson.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands.
So the ruling on the field stands, and the Dolphins are on the board.
Has to be something indisputable upstairs to overrule. Remember, the original ruling was a touchdown, and in the opinion of the gentleman upstairs, it wasn't enough to overturn the ruling on the field. Well, all the way upstairs, I should say, because this part upstairs didn't feel that way.
Tom Sifferman and Roger Ruth are the replay guys, and they say it's a touchdown. And so with the extra point good, the Dolphins go 9 plays, 62 yards. Bush scoring on a 17-yard pass play. We're back. Dolphins going 62 yards in 9 plays. Reggie Bush on a 17-yard touchdown scored on a catch and run. So now the Bills have Justin Rogers and Brad Smith back to fumble by 13. Looming large in this game, that was by Stevie Johnson. And the Bills were driving for what looked like a score. 2 yards deep, a delay. And he who hesitates is lost there back at the 10-yard line. Brad Smith thinking it over. Can't do that, Randy, in this league.
No, he who hesitates in this case loses 10 yards.
Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. It's coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. So the Bills now start from their 11 down to the Dolphins 7-0.
This has almost been the lost quarter for Buffalo, only running 4 plays and a little under 3 minutes left in the first quarter.
It's going to go right back to Stevie Johnson before long. Maybe right now. Goes to the run, and straight ahead is Spiller. Works his way out to about the 13-yard line. Odrick, defensive end. It's the guy on the stop, number 98.
You know, Stevie Johnson's got the matchup with Sean Smith, who at this point is the matchup guy for the Miami Dolphins corner-wise. But keep in mind, Dimitri Patterson is starting the other corner for Miami. And he was just signed after being cut by the Cleveland Browns. I would give him a close examination if I was Chan Gailey and company, see why exactly the Browns let him go.
Top of your screen in press coverage. Here's Spiller breaking it across out to the 20-yard line, very close to a first down, just short of it. Olivier Vernon on the stop for the Dolphins.
Nice job by Spiller. Backside, you're using a tight end like a pulling guard. Get an excellent block on the outside by the rookie T.J. Graham, working against Dimitri Patterson.
Our producer, Craig Silver, just informed that Buffalo tight end Scott Chandler is out for the rest of the game with a knee injury. Brad Smith is now...
Confusion. Timeout.
Wow. So they go to the Wildcat with Brad Smith, who was a quarterback at Missouri, running the ball straight ahead. But it's no play. They'd blown it on a timeout before he ran ahead. Dolphins lead the game 7-0. Bills now have a third and less than a yard after to get to their 21 for a first down. And Spiller finds a way. Joe Philbin said the only way you stop Spiller is get 11 guys around him and make him tackle.
One more time to that timeout. There's Brad Smith. Two receivers not being covered. Credit linebacker Carlos Dansby to really have the wherewithal and the composure to say, wait a minute, let's get some timeouts here. Let's figure out what this personnel is.
Something's not quite right here. But the Bills do get the first down. The ball is out to their 22-yard line. Fitzpatrick in the shotgun. Play faking. Looking deep. Fastball on target, and Johnson drops it. Let's check as the scoreboard changes around the league as we go to JB in New York.
Steelers need to win to stay alive. Leon Hall makes Ben Roethlisberger pay for this mistake. Pick six, 17 yards. And the Bengals are on top early, JB. 7-0 over the Steelers.
A Cincy win, they're in. Back to Don and Randy.
Thank you, JB and Shannon. Right now, not covering himself with glory early in this game is Stevie Johnson.
Yeah, with that drop. Had a good route working against Sean Smith. Was wide open and dropped that thing.
After an earlier fumble, when the Bills were driving. Right now there's a penalty marker and a whistle stops play.
False start, number 71, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
False start might have been the right tackle, Sam Young. Playoff picture, 4 are in the American Conference. Houston, Denver, New England, and Baltimore. Indianapolis looking very good. Cincinnati fighting hard. The Dolphins still have a chance, and Cincinnati winning today over the Steelers.
You know, Ben Roethlisberger, great piece today in the NFL Today talking to Bill Cowher. But in that game, if you were picking quarterbacks, I might take Andy Dalton from Cincinnati.
Playing some great football in the second year. Here's a throw downfield on target. First down as they go to Doran Dickerson. Chris Clemens makes the stop, but there's a 21-yard gain, so the Bills running a lot of crossing routes, Randy, and getting open people.
Well, we're seeing Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he is in his comfort mode. He's not being pressured. He's not being smacked around. He's able to get back there, check 1, 2, bang. I'm going to the third player, the third receiver on that particular play. He's got the bounce working. He is very, very comfortable.
Right now, that's the end of the first quarter with a score. The Dolphins 7, the Bills nothing. We'll return after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Back to South Florida, the Miami Dolphins capitalizing on a Bills turnover and subsequently scoring a touchdown, a Reggie Bush reception. Don Criqui with Randy Cross. A lot of guys running open, and the Bills offense, but right now no points.
Well, initially Miami was able to cause a turnover. They came into the game wanting to cause more, but they have not gotten pressure on Ryan Fitzpatrick. And if you can't get Cameron Wake and company, Trusnick and them into the face of this quarterback, he is going to carve this defense up.
Right now they go back to the Wildcat. Brad Smith taking a direct snap. Penalty markers, could be a false start again.
False start. Number 11, offense. 5-yard penalty.
Rookie
First down.
T.J. Graham with the false start. Here's the play. Johnson catch, ripped. And then the Dolphins get set to go on a touchdown drive.
And then the drop later on in this drive, where earlier in this drive when Fitzpatrick hit him right in the mitts.
So second false start in this game for the Bills now gives them a 1st and 15.
Empty look with trick receivers down to the bottom, Don.
There are trick receivers, and here is a big hit on Fitzpatrick as a blindside blitzer came unblocked. Carlos Dansby.
Well, that is something. Here comes Carlos Dansby, bottom of the screen, completely unblocked. First thing that stops him is the back between the 1 and the 4 on Fitzpatrick. Now there's a reminder that you're there. That's letting the quarterback know that he's going to get a little pressure.
Cordy Glenn, left tackle, never looked at him. So it's second, a little over 15. Draw play. Spiller gets it out to the 39-yard line, so they get the lost yardage back. It'll be 3rd down and 10. There's Carlos Dansby from Auburn.
His defense, you're averaging less than 20 points a game given up. They're 6th in the league at 19.6. That is something. I don't care, and this is their leader. He gives them that fire, ability to play the pass, play the run, and as you just saw, when he gets a chance to blitz, he makes it count.
Well, he made that one count earlier. Bills need 10 on 3rd down from their 39. Fastball off target, looking at tight end Doran Dickerson. It's incomplete at the 47-yard line of the Dolphins, and the Bills have to punt the ball.
No pressure, not much in the way of a rush. The ball's just thrown behind Dickerson. Makes you kind of think that maybe he was supposed to settle right over the ball instead of continuing, because definitely Fitzpatrick thought he was going to be settling right there. That's where he threw it.
Bills top tight end Scott Chandler going out with a leg injury earlier today after making a 25-yard catch, and he will not play again today. The punt hit downfield by Sean Powell. And the Dolphins are going to get a relatively good field position to start this drive with a 7-0 lead. Look at the Final Four continues with a battle in the Bluegrass State as John Calipari's Kentucky Wildcats take on Rick Pitino's Louisville Cardinals. It all begins when CBS Sports presents 75 years of March Madness behind the mic, followed by a coach's perspective. Second quarter set to open. Dolphins with a 7-0 lead and a 1st down at their 38. Tannehill, nice timing throw, checking down. Receivers out ahead. Matthews for a gain of 7.
We mentioned the job this offensive line is doing, especially inside. Darius and Williams are being very ineffective getting in Tannehill's face. He's got an unencumbered view of his receivers.
Tannehill can see downfield. He's 6'4", 228 pounds. Went to Texas A&M as a quarterback. Was 3rd string, so he tried wide receiver. Led the team in receptions one year. Then he went back to quarterback and ended up as the 8th pick in the 1st round. Here's a handoff. Not a lot happening. The Dolphins needing a long 2 on that for a 1st down. They're going to be a little short of it.
Yeah, Mario Williams was signed as that big pass rushing defensive end, but people miss out on how good this guy is all the way around. It's not just about rushing the passer. Mario Williams is more than capable and willing to stuff that run pretty good. And as you mentioned, for the money he's getting, he should play both sides.
He was the #1 pick, of course, in the league. Dolphins now with 3rd in the yard. They're 3 of 4 converting 3rd down so far today. Tannehill, man, he is living dangerously, standing in against the rush and does trigger a fastball. But it's incomplete to Fasano. Covering well was Justin Rogers, and Mario Williams, Randy, getting heat.
Yeah, and watch at the last, you'll see a hand come in from the outside. That's Mario Williams trying to get around the tackle. And Tannehill didn't feel too comfortable because he threw that ball behind Fasano. He leads Fasano out in front. That's a pretty easy completion.
So the Bills defense holds. The Dolphins with the 7-0 lead will punt. Brandon Fields hits a high punt. Jarris Burt comes over. Fair catches the ball at the 11. And again, the Bills have the long field to go, Randy. A 42-yard punt and no return. Dolphins with a 7-0 lead on a 14-yard catch and run for a touchdown. But
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. Upgrade your human specifications with Droid DNA. 1&1 My Website, where creating a business website is easy. And by the all-new Ford Fusion. Go further.
back to South Florida. This is the second straight Bills drive to start at their own 11. Fitzpatrick spreads the field. Goes to his runner, and the super quick C.J. Spiller finds a way.
Working inside Don at center is Eric Wood, who earlier in the week made a little publicity expressing his opinion. Gee, imagine that, an old lineman with an opinion about the games in Toronto. But he also, against Jacksonville a couple weeks ago, injured an MCL pretty good, which when they refer to it as a sprain, it's usually degrees of tears. Now misses 2 games, but now he's back with that bad knee. Just wants to find a way to contribute here these last 2 games. Pretty tough stuff.
He's been a very good center for the Bills. Now, look at him run through the Dolphin defense. C.J. Spiller is amazing. They can't tip him up one time. They finally run him down inside the 25-yard line. That'll be one of the best runs of this NFL season for anybody.
Very nice blocking on this draw, especially inside with Wood and company. But this 52-yarder, this is all about C.J. Spiller. He bounces it out, and once he gets going forward, that's just about speed defeating angles from this point on. You got an angle, too bad. I'm faster than you can get over there. And there's just one last saving tackle by Sean Smith, saves the Dolphins 6 points.
And now, Randy, they've actually turned it into a 61-yard run. So the Bills challenging at their 23-yard line of the Dolphins.
Chan Gailey's going to challenge the spot.
So the Bills with a big play from their big play guy, Spiller. So the Bills down to the Dolphins 7-0, have the ball at the 23-yard line of Miami. Fitzpatrick timing throw, deep ball on target. It's a touchdown for the Bills. Now they ruled it, wave it off. Johnson had it, and they say he lost it on the way down. So Johnson has a catch and a fumble today. A drop ball, and now looked like he was in, but apparently they're going to wave it off. He did.
Stevie Johnson does a wonderful job of escaping the man coverage.
Did not catch it.
Remember, through the catch. And as he's going to the ground, before he goes over the goal line, he has to control that ball all the way through the process. If he was a runner doing the same thing like Reggie Bush was, you don't have to control it.
Right. The process of catching the ball, they call it. Draw play. And the Dolphins are hunting. Tashard Choice was in the backfield. Randy Starks first to get to him, a loss of 3 yards.
And Stevie Johnson, just a wonderful job, man coverage-wise, of beating things. But as he scores, goes for the dive, you've got to control it all the way through.
So now it's up to the right arm of Ryan Fitzpatrick to try to convert 3rd and 13.
You got man coverage at the top of the screen. Same matchup, Johnson and Smith.
is the quarterback, not close to a first down. But Cordy Glenn leading the blocking. He does get plus yards. Jared Odrick is the man who got him, chased him out.
That's a nice job just fundamentally of Odrick with his responsibilities of contain. And this year, Odrick finally starting to play like the first-round draft pick the Dolphins thought he was going to be. Kind of a tweener between a pass rusher and a 3-4 end.
So now they stop him, Randy. It's 4th and 10, and they'll try a 42-yard field goal. Their very good kicker, Ryan Lindell, 20 of 21 for the season. Puts a lot into it. And he's right on time down the middle, so the Bills are on the board with their first points. A frustrated Stevie Johnson thought he had a touchdown, but he clearly did not. 7-3 Dolphins.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Microsoft Surface. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
We're back. Stevie Johnson having problems holding onto the ball today. The Bills do get the field goal and now trail the Dolphins 7-3. Back for Miami on the kick return is Marcus Thigpen. The Bills remember him well on November 15th at Orchard Park. He ran back a punt, 96 yards for a touchdown. Thigpen, a first-year player from Indiana. Short kick from the 5. Finds a gap. Spiller's been the story for the Bills on offense.
He certainly has, Don, and this is a defense that's given up just a little less than 101 yards a game. And Spiller is on his way to well over that, if not doubling it, if they don't find a way to solve the puzzle that is right now 28.
Well, he has been hard to solve. He unlocks every defense with those quick moves. First and 10 now, Dolphins. Lamar Miller working hard, getting yards, built close to the ground. George Wilson makes another step. George Katavalos, defensive backfield coach for the Bills. He says his safeties really are two of the best in the league, and there's not anybody in the league you can find that doesn't agree, including all the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true, and there's no panic in this team ever. A lot of that credit goes to Joe Philbin. It's a very solid, very stable team.
Handoff. Oh, keep. Quarterback's living dangerously, but Tannehill gets good yardage, and he's got, appears to be a first down. He does indeed.
He reads the fake, pulls the ball out of the belly of his receiver, and even though he is a quarterback, he goes head first, so there's no slide involved. That's why the ball is spotted for the first down. Nice changeup by Ryan Tannehill. It's not something you want to see your quarterback do on a healthy, regular basis, but if it's there, you got to take those free yards.
Well, as Mike Sherman, the row coordinator, told us, Randy, he said you don't find a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL running for a long time. Here now is Tannehill. Tip ball. Live in the air and incomplete. Bills defensive lineman had a play on it. Ryan Scott was very close to the ball. He got a hand on it. Carrington also might have been in there.
And you mentioned already, he's 6'4", so this has nothing to do with having to be a taller quarterback. Alex Carrington is 6'5". That's why he's able to get up there and bat that ball away.
So Carrington with the block field goal, now the block pass at 2nd down and 10. Line the game for the first down, the Bills 45. Tannehill calling his own number again. That's a called run play. So you talked, Randy, about that instruction he gets to listen to his feet. I don't know what they're saying. It must be run.
Well, don't be afraid. They call this is an intentional run. You see the fake, and then he just goes up and follows his blocking. And beautiful blocking right there creates a nice hole for Ryan Tannehill. But remember, you mentioned earlier, he was a receiver for a couple of years at A&M, and a dang good receiver.
Yeah, he led the Aggies in receptions. He went back to quarterback and worked out even better. From Big Spring, Texas, out in West Texas. Tannehill in the shotgun. 3rd down. Gets it away and does well to not get sacked as Darius was in on him hard.
That was a smart play by Tannehill. He could have tried to touch pass it and just barely lob it in there to Armon Binns, who was clearly open. But by the time Darius gets to him, he's got to just get out there and let that ball go and make it incomplete.
Fourth down now, and the Dolphins ready to punt again. Well-placed punt. Bird is back for the Bills. Directional punt inside the 10. Great work by Brandon Fields. 41-yarder and obviously no return. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the guys discussing the plight of the New York Jets and kind of how they handled that whole Tebow situation. And I imagine these divisional foes like Buffalo and Miami, New England, as much as people seem to enjoy the misery the Jets are going through, I'm sure their divisional foes are enjoying it even more.
That's what Chan Gailey says. You really don't like any opponent in this league, but when they're in your division, you really don't like them. First and 10. Bills again starting deep in their own end. Dolphins doing a good job of their defense and punt game, playing a field position game with a 7-3 lead. C.J. Spiller in his third year out of Clemson, number 1 pick in 2010. Burnett, outside backer, makes the stop.
When you've been pinned back like this as an offense, it's up to Fitzpatrick and company. Just get a first down. Don't worry about a touchdown here. Don't worry about a field goal. Just start with a first down, because that'll get you out of that field, the field position disadvantage.
That's what they do. Second down and 5 for the Bills. Play fake. Fitzpatrick, long ball. Overshoots everybody. It bounces incomplete at the 47-yard line of the Dolphins. Very fast rookie T.J. Graham was the target. Jones running with him, Rashad Jones. Highest yardage average. Look at these guys.
Yeah, but C.J. Spiller, just thinking of this, Spiller has 160 some odd carries coming into this game, 161 at 6.5, and he's managed to increase that 6.5 today with his performance so far.
2 quarterbacks on that list.
And the great Adrian Peterson.
Oh, he is great. Third and 5 for the Bills. Some time. Searching out. Good coverage by the Miami defense. Coming across was Kevin Burnett on Doran Dickerson, and the pass is broken up, and the Bills have to punt from deep in their own end.
Now here's how you pay off an excellent punt by Brandon Fields. You played excellent defense. You force another punt, so now you can get the ball back in better field position than you gave it up.
They could get real good field position here. Ryan Fitzpatrick has missed his last 5 throws for the Bills. Sean Powell, strong-legged first-year player from Florida State. It's a line drive downfield from the 46. Thigpen looking for a place to go. Terrific special teams play on the coverage. And the ball is down to the 49-yard line of the Bills. First and 10, Dolphins. For complete pro football coverage, including everything you need to know from this weekend's matchup, it's all the way through to Super Bowl 47. Visit CBSSports.com/NFL. Randy, the Dolphins winning this field position game.
There they are. A lot of that right there just because of the defense doing the job they have. They still haven't identified that second receiver, though.
Go!
Tannehill looking deep. Home run ball. Receivers out there. It's hardline. Hand down it, incomplete. You can see whatever's bothering him. He had kind of like a hitch there.
Well, he's got a little bit of a bad back, and You know, those of us that have suffered through a back, sometimes you twist the wrong way. It can hurt a little bit, but he had to twist because Ryan Tannehill threw the ball over the wrong shoulder. That ball should have been over the receiver's right shoulder, not his left shoulder. And he would have had a better chance of getting a completion and reaching for that ball.
Hardline came into the game with over 1,000 yards receiving, 67 catches, and now they go to power up the middle again. Shepard makes the stop on Reggie Bush. Kelvin Shepard, the middle backer from LSU, makes the stop for the Bills. Buffalo beating Miami in Orchard Park November 15th, week 11, 19-14. Bills got all their points in the first half, were shut out in the second half, and never got an offensive touchdown. They had a punt return by McKelvin and 4 field goals.
Baker, y'all, Baker.
Third down. Needing 5, the rookie Tannehill goes with a long count. Bills don't show you a lot of looks, do they, Randy, on defense? They just line up and get set. Incomplete at the 33-yard line of the Bills. That brings up 4th down, and the Dolphins again have to punt. Hartline was the target. The rookie Gilmore, who they're so high on, a first-year, first-round draft choice from South Carolina, was covering.
Yeah, they play a lot of man coverage, do the Bills, and they line up where you kind of expect them to be. They have their front 4, highly paid, highly thought of, and they pressure quarterbacks with their 4 rushers.
Again, Jarris Byrd is back for the Bills, standing at his 10. Another well-placed end-over-end directional punt. Hops into the end zone, and the Bills will start from their 20, trailing the Dolphins 7-3. Tomorrow on CBS, it may be cold outside, but there's one place that's always so hot. Hawaii 5-0. Tomorrow, only CBS. Hey, South Florida today is as good as Hawaii. Beautiful weather.
Everybody apologizing on Friday when we got here about the cold weather.
I think it got all the way down to 50-something.
That's parka weather down here.
We can live with that, right?
Yeah, it gets down to 45. They put fur on the collars.
Right now, it's in the mid-70s. There was a lot of wind the last few days. That settled down. Playing conditions couldn't be better. Has the Bills down 7-3, start at their 20. 5:16 to go in the first half. Spiller goes right at the Dolphins and is thrown back. Rolling, he was down. The only score of the game, a 14-yard catch and run by Reggie Bush from Tannehill, gave the Dolphins a 7-0 first quarter lead. Bush and Spiller.
Well, the difference between those two is a 61-yard run.
Talked about a 6.5-yard carry. It's now over 7 to carry for the season. And Fitzpatrick told us the game plan is to get it to CJ as much as we can. This time, C.J. Spiller is thrown back. Good defense by the Dolphins. Cameron Wake, a loss of a yard.
You know, Don, a lot of trash for defensive players to look at. You've got tight ends moving. You've got linemen moving. But the linebackers and the line never take their eyes off C.J. Spiller smartly. Don't worry about the trash. Don't worry about the motion. Worry about the guy that ends up with the ball.
He's usually the guy when they run it. Now they spread the field, open backfield on 3rd down. Bills need 7. Line to gain for the first down is the 30-yard line of Buffalo. Here comes the heat. Throw. Catch. It's Spiller. And great defense by the Dolphins as Dimitri Patterson making the stop. A new starter today, just called in off the waiver wire from Cleveland.
Yeah, Sam Young at right tackle doing a really nice job on Cameron Wake. Buys Fitzpatrick the extra time, but Dimitri Patterson, beautiful job, and little chip involved by Brad Smith, but Sam Young, good bend to the knee, good use of his hands.
Sam Young, in his 3rd year out of Notre Dame, a former Dallas Cowboy, and now the Bills punt. Man, what a charge that Howell put into that. All the way back to the 16, but here comes Thigpen. And he's out to the 34-yard line. 51-yard punt, 18-yard return. Nobody knows the game like a quarterback. Break down all the NFL action on NFL Monday QB tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern, only on CBS Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. That was a 59-yard punt, Randy, 18-yard return.
I didn't have to be a quarterback to know that return, Thigpen ran as fast as he could to the first tackler. There was wide open spaces to go to. He went right straight into the middle.
Line drive punt. No time for the coverage to get down and cover it. Reggie Bush, who checks in at 6 feet 203 in a seventh year out of Southern California.
He's got plenty of power down below, though. You look at those thighs and calves. There's a reason he spends the time he does in the weight room. And that's why he can go inside and he can generate the power he generates.
Right now, let's see what they try to generate on 2nd down and 8. Egnew, a rookie tight end, is in the game.
Empty backfield, nobody to protect Tannehill.
Tannehill standing in, stepping up, downfield throw. What a beautiful connection. Rashad Matthews. They were working on deep balls to Matthews a lot on Friday in their practice, and they hit one for 29 yards.
Well, and Tannehill did exactly what Mike Sherman has been telling him. He listened to his feet. He was back in his drop. He scooched forward, bought us up the time, and hit Matthews.
There is Nate Kading. He had a 42-yard attempt blocked earlier. Right now, though, the Dolphins are driving with a first down inside the Bills' 35. Tannehill eludes a tackler, and he's all the way down the sideline. He might be heading in. Loses the ball as he dives for the end zone.
Did he fumble into the end zone? That's got to be the question. Did he fumble into the end zone for a touchback?
The linesman signaled Buffalo's ball.
Now it'll be out of bounds there if the ball was indeed tipped. But the question's going to be, as he was reaching, the ball spurted.
The ruling on the field, the ball was fumbled in the field of play. It went out of bounds in the field of play. It would be brought back to the spot of the fumble, first down Miami.
So he did not fumble into the end zone, but one official distinctly pointed ball going Buffalo's way. But then the referee came over, said he was out of bounds, did not fumble into the end zone, and so the Dolphins get a big run and now challenge for a second touchdown.
Check the angle of the ball as it goes out. Watch it go to the left. Bang. It does go to the left. It does not go more forward than left. One more time. I think that's a good call. It can't be advanced. They couldn't get it right inside the cone.
Handoff. Down close. No signal yet.
Did he reach in? You know,
well, they had a lot of Tannehill runs in the game plan. He's now run 7 times today.
Well, that was a read option. The Tannehill kept the ball. Watch Reggie Bush. Watch him reach with the ball. Is he down? I think his knee was down before he reached over with the ball. Because Kyle Williams and company and George Wilson are on his legs.
Is an eligible receiver.
Down, reach. Yeah, his knee was down. That's a very nice call.
So there is a timeout on the field. The Dolphins up 7-3, but challenging for another score.
Here's a big run by Tannehill. The read option, which gave him so many problems last week. He pulls. Garner gets a little block, just a chip. That's horrendous tackling. That's as bad a tackling as you're going to see. That's got nothing to do with coaching. That's more want-to and technique than anything else.
And that tackling allowed Tannehill to run 31 yards, and now Reggie Bush takes it in.
Oh, they're going over that left side again. Mike Pouncey pulling incognito. Incognito gets a nice block. Martin gets a nice block. That today, at least, is the money side of this Dolphins offense.
Dolphins, they're so close to, as you know, Randy, a terrific record. They lost by 3 to the Jets, by 3 to Arizona, by 3 to the Colts, and by 5 to the Bills, and now Kading hits the extra point up and good. So, 5 plays, 65 yards. Bush with his second touchdown of this day and a 14-3 lead.
They better shore up the inside of that extra point field goal group, though. Darius was inside. He was almost all over Kading trying to kick that extra point. That was way too much penetration.
Tannehill, though, we heard about his running. They talk about it. They turned him loose today. Watch him.
Well, after Russell Wilson last week just gashed Buffalo, they run the read option just like Seattle did. And like Wilson, Tannehill makes the Buffalo Bills defense pay. Say these rookies coming into the league. I know it's a spread offense, passing game, even on the college level, but these guys are coming in with such excellent feet and feel for the running game. They won't survive running in the NFL, but they can sure make themselves some bones here early in their careers.
Tannehill, as he told us, Randy, the big difference, and they all say when they come to the NFL, is how fast it is, but he's certainly up to speed.
Well, he had an advantage, too. Mike Sherman, the offensive coordinator, was his head coach at A&M, and certainly you don't have the same kind of defenses to read, so there are some disadvantages as a rookie, but knowing the plays and most of the wording is a big advantage.
The kickoff. Here is Brad Smith. Yard deep. 10. And again, a win for the Dolphins special teams coverage as he stopped inside the 20. Bills need to make something happen. There's not much time to do it in the first half. Tomorrow it's Christmas Eve, and 2 broke girls are unwrapping their special brand of holiday cheer. Celebrate the holiday with 2 broke girls tomorrow, only CBS.
So do 2 broke girls make you something for Christmas? They can't afford to buy you anything. They're broke.
I tell you one thing they have is a rating. It's a big hit.
Look at the quarterback comparison. The big difference has been the feet of Tannehill and his ability to run, because they're both operating right now sub 50% completion.
So Ryan Fitzpatrick with very little time, 33 seconds on the second quarter clock, looking to air it out. Underneath, nothing deep, so he checks down to Doran Dickerson. Clemens was on the stop.
Timeout for Buffalo.
Next week, the Dolphins conclude regular season play and maybe seasons play when they go to New England. Buffalo will be at home to play the New York Jets next week.
Yeah, everything really predicated on what happens with Pittsburgh and Cincinnati as far as what Joe Philbin's football team is going to be able to do from this point forward. But for both these teams, you know, win the last 2 games and worry about your fate after that. But here's what Miami faces.
Since he's still winning 10-7, if they hold that up and win the game, Miami would be out. Miami needs all 3 teams, the Dolphins, Bengals, and Steelers, to finish at 8-8. And Miami would go in by virtue of better conference record in the AFC.
Andy Levitre, he moved, reacting to Vernon flinching across the line of scrimmage.
Ball start, number 67, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Bills had chances in the first half. Very costly was the fumble by the receiver, Stevie Johnson, inside the Miami 20. That's the 4th false start, Randy, of this game. Particularly irritating to you because you had so few as a 49er. Fitzpatrick hit hard as he released the ball over the middle of the field.
Well, if you think back, Don, to when Carlos Dansby had that free shot coming from the defensive right side at Fitzpatrick, he's been a little bit different. He's been off with his accuracy. And I think that one sack rattled him up a little bit. I don't know if it affected him at all in the way of a concussion, but it definitely affected him in the way that he knows they're after him.
And of course, on the pass protection side, as Chan Gailey told us, we have to keep the pocket secure for Ryan Fitzpatrick on that play. So the Bills go to a home run threat anytime he has the ball. C.J. Spiller, Cameron Wake, who's had another good half, was the tackler.
That was a beautiful play by Cameron Wake, because Sam Young wants to get him coming upfield for the draw. They're running a TE, a tackle end game, and by being the second in the game, the end, he comes back underneath and runs right into C.J. Spiller. That's just kind of luck of the draw there.
And that will do it. That's the end of the first half. Dolphins in the lead, 14-3. We'll be back with the Verizon Halftime Report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. You're listening to a Pepsi Anthem by Ice Cube. Download this and other NFL-inspired anthems at PepsiAnthems.com. At the half, the Miami Dolphins with 2 Reggie Bush touchdowns holding to a 14-3 lead over the Bills. Don Criqui with Randy Cross. So C.J. Spiller's doing his part for Buffalo. 11 carries, 100 yards, but the rest of the team misfiring.
Yeah, it really is, especially the quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick is having some issues. He has been smacked around a couple of times, but the player so far kind of this game quietly has been Ryan Tannehill, completing only about 50% of his passes, but he's the leading rusher right now with 43 yards rushing. One of them, a big long run down there to set up that second touchdown by Reggie Bush.
Yeah, Tannehill looking very under control, very poised for a rookie. And he's showing up in the halftime stats with maybe not humongous numbers, but his contribution has been enormous.
Well, if you look at the halftime stats, concentrate on what this Buffalo offense has not been able to do. Only 5 first downs so far, and one of the real key parts was the job that the Miami defense did of holding Fitzpatrick and company back and pinning him up and getting that nice field position, which set up that last run, and then Reggie Bush run for a touchdown.
Right now, the Dolphins kick off. And out of the end zone as the ball is boomed by Kading. So the Bills will start at their 20, down 14-3.
And just a quick review of what Ryan Tannehill was able to do in that first half. That was a very well-placed professional ball by Tannehill, but then he took to his feet, 43 yards rushing. The read option again gives Buffalo issues, but on that particular play, it wasn't so much a read option, it was the lack of ability to tackle that challenged the Buffalo defense.
I think there's no question, Randy, that Fitzpatrick looked shaken. He was hitting balls earlier on all his throws, then really tailed off where he got whacked on a blitz. Right now they go to the man who's had 100 first yards rushing and 11 carries. C.J. Spiller gets his 12th. As Fitzpatrick told us, we can't give him enough touches. Dansby, middle back around the stop for the Dolphins.
You know, Fred Jackson the last couple of years has been the man with C.J. Spiller just sort of taking the scraps that are left, and he's had his chance both years when Fred Jackson has gone out, and really especially last year the light came on and he became a real full-time NFL running back, and he's going to be a star with enough reps.
No question, and with his production today, C.J. Spiller's close to 1,200 yards rushing for the season. Again he breaks a tackle, turns the corner, gets a first down, takes a hard strike. Getting the shoulder in there was Dimitri Patterson along with Rashad Jones.
Well, you hear the term, you can't coach speed. Well, you can't coach jump cuts either. There's a jump cut. Both feet in the ground, suddenly, bang, you're going 90 degrees just as fast as you were going forward. Then when you start going forward, you don't miss a beat. That will shred a defense.
Chan Gailey, as he told us, Randy, said he's not big. He might be a shade under 200, C.J. Spiller, but he runs through a lot of tackles. You know he's fast, he's just definitely strong. Didn't run through that one. On a first down from the 31, there's going to be a stop at the 30 by Dansby, a loss of a yard.
So despite that success that Spiller's enjoyed, you look at the drive chart, fumble, punt, field goal, punt, possessions to the half, it would mislie the success that CJ's had. It's just the execution overall of the offense has not been very good.
Very inconsistent. It's been a continuing problem for the Bills. Second down line to gain for the first down is the Bills' 42-yard line. They snap the ball just across their 30. Downfield throw. Beautiful connection, and then the ball is lost by Doran Dickerson. It's ruled a catch and a fumble. The play was live, and for a second time today, a Bills receiver makes a grab, is on the run, and loses the ball.
But Dickerson definitely looks like he has the ball long enough. Has it? I don't know. I don't think so.
Right now, this throw by Ryan Fitzpatrick to Doran Dickerson. Did he have possession long enough to be ruled a catch?
You know, he gets the ball and goes to put it away, and that end zone look we just had was the best look at it. He's trying to secure the ball. It never looks like he really secures it. See, watch him. He's got it around the middle. He's trying to put it away, and just then Burnett comes in and strips that thing away. It was ruled a fumble on the field. Remember, it has to be something pretty radical to overturn it.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands.
The ruling on the field does indeed stand. Another turnover by the Bills, another possession for the Dolphins, who lead 14-3, and another headache for Chan Gailey.
Yeah, you start talking about points off turnovers, especially when you're playing a team like Miami that has really been in a turnover drought as far as the defense goes. It's been a sudden flood.
It has, and now breaking into open field and looking like Seattle last week against the Bills defense. This time it's Lamar Miller ripping off a big gain all the way down close to the 36-yard line, a 28-yard gain. Ryan Scott finally got him.
Nice job by Jonathan Martin on the outside. That sets everything up.
Nate Garner blocking well. Here's Tannehill, live ball.
Is that a lateral?
Left to see. Officials are ruling. Let's see what they rule.
Yep, they are.
Buffalo's ball.
Yeah, Ryan Tannehill got rushed and flipped it out at the last second.
Jarris Bird's in here for Buffalo on the live ball.
See, he throws it.
He might have come up with it, Bird.
He threw it at about the 44, 49-yard line. And the ball goes lateral, lands right at about the 48, 49-yard line. I think it was a lateral play. One more time, look at it from the side.
The field is a forward pass. The ball hit the ground. It's incomplete.
Okay, 43 and a half, and it lands on the 44. Yeah, I think Chan Gailey's going to challenge that. He has challenged it.
Walt Anderson heads under the hood to check out the truth machine, see what he sees there. On the field, originally ruled a turnover, then it was rescinded.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. And by Zales, the Diamond Store. Let love shine.
Welcome. Review is underway, Randy.
Yeah, and welcome back here to Miami. Chan Gailey has challenged this play. Now, watch where the ball is when Ryan Tannehill lets it go. Okay, right there. It's right on the 44-yard line. Now, watch the ball fly to where it just, right when it hits the ground, right there. I mean, remember, it was ruled an incomplete pass on the field. Looking at that, I mean, is that conclusive enough to overturn the ruling on the field? I don't think they're going to see enough to overturn that play. But if they were to overturn it, then you have to go back to exactly where the ball was, exactly where it went out of bounds.
Well, it's a game of inches here. Here's Walt Anderson.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. By rule, if a quarterback is attempting to throw the ball forward, which he was, even though he was contacted by a defender and the ball went backwards, by rule it is deemed to be forward and an incomplete pass. Buffalo is charged with their first timeout.
Remember the explanation now. Mario Williams will contact Tannehill, and he's trying to throw it forward, but because of the contact, even if the ball does not go forward, it's deemed a forward pass because of the contact influencing the ball.
Of course, the Bills, with the challenge by Gailey, are charged a timeout. So now the Dolphins looking to take complete command of this game as they start at the 36-yard line. It'll be second down to the 36 as the ball goes back to the previous spot. One official did indeed rule that Bird had the ball and pointed Buffalo's way. Then the referee jumped in and said no, it was incomplete, and that was the ruling on the field, incomplete.
Please reset the game clock to 12 minutes, 13 seconds, 12:13 on the clock.
Joe Philbin talking about to win in the NFL, you have to win your home games and in the division. And here's a handoff to Reggie Bush, who's having a big day. Inside the 30-yard line, a driving run, breaking a tackle. He's ahead for 8. Gilmore gets him.
Takes a long time for this play to develop. The power play with Richie Incognito coming from the backside, doing what he really does best, which is pull and influence defenses.
And the Bills' standout rookie cornerback Gilmore is down. He was a high draft choice, picked 10th overall in the last draft out of South Carolina. The Dolphins, with a win today, would finish the season with a winning home record. They were 6-10 overall last year. Hard hit. Stephon Gilmore goes off, shaken up, making a tackle.
They'll take him inside and go through the concussion protocol, make sure he's fine.
On 3rd and 2, Reggie Bush keeps fighting, almost dropped for a yard loss, and finally Kyle Williams gets him down, but it's going to be very close to the 26 where he had to go for a first down. Talk about that. Dolphins defense has given up so few points this year. Joe Philbin said the most frustrating thing of his first year as a head coach here is the number of turnovers. They're -11 in the turnover count coming in.
And that's a direct product. Not that his offense has turned the ball over so much. It's just the defense, despite all the hard work they've done, trying to coach guys about ripping the ball and tipping the ball, intercepting the ball. They just haven't gotten many turnovers.
Today they're +2 though on the Dolphins with 2 fumble recoveries. Here's a throw by Tannehill. Incomplete at the 17-yard line of the Bills on a first down throw. Marlon Moore was the target. Ron Brooks broke it up.
See those black stickers on the back of the Dolphin players' helmets and on the buttons on the officials' uniforms for Sandy Hook Elementary School for that senseless, heinous tragedy in Connecticut.
Right now, second down and 10. A handoff goes to Bush, and he is hit hard as he drives to the Bills' 20-yard line. Second and 10 carry. George Wilson comes up and gets him.
You know, Don, you have to think the perception of Reggie not going inside and maybe not being as powerful as people think. He's done a nice job this year of dispelling those thoughts because he never hesitates going inside. Whether it's been he or Lamar Miller, they've gone inside and taken advantage of that blocking by the interior of the Dolphins line.
Mike Pouncey at center, Incognito and John Jerry at the guards. Jonathan Martin and Nate Garner are the tackles for the Dolphins. Third down, long 4. Pass, catch at the 14-yard line. We're coming to you from Sun Life Stadium in Davie, Florida, nearby to Miami. Don Criqui with Randy Cross. The Miami Dolphins still in the playoff hunt. But for that to happen, they would have to finish with an 8-8 record, meaning winning today and next week at New England. And the Steelers and the Bengals would both have to finish 8-8 also. And Miami would win the three-way tie for the last wild card spot by virtue of better AFC record. Today the Dolphins have played very sound football. Their coach Joe Philbin says the mark of a football team is in the NFL is how well you're playing in December, and this is one of their best games. It
really is, and I think the other thing that Joe Philbin stresses to his football team is control the things you can control. And the only thing that the Dolphins can control is this opponent today and then the opponent next week in New England. Win your 2 games. Don't worry about what the other teams do, even if it doesn't mean making the playoffs. Finish 8-8. There's a lot of great momentum in this organization.
Now we go to 2nd and 2. 2nd and 8. On the 9th play of the drive is rolling out is Tannehill, taking a look, holds on and then throws the ball out of the box. No intentional grounding because he's out of the tackle box. Darius and Scott were both putting heat on.
Good ad lib too, getting that ball past the line of scrimmage, because there is nothing for him to do down the field. Take a look at his receivers. Okay, let's say covered. I mean, covered. No, it's a good one either to eat, put a little mustard on it, or flip it out of bounds forward past the line of scrimmage and live to play on 3rd down.
He's lived to run a lot on 3rd down today, Ryan Tannehill. 3rd down and 8 for the Dolphins with a 14-3 third quarter lead. Timing throw to the end zone. Waiting for a signal.
There's going to be a personal foul for illegal.
Yes, there is.
An illegal hit, and they also called that a touchdown.
It is ruled a touchdown.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer, number 54, defense, picking the quarter up, back up, driving it to the ground.
Might have been Kyle Moore that got in there.
Yeah, the personal foul is not hitting in the head, but Kyle Moore picking up Tannehill, throwing him to the ground. And
how about Reggie Bush, though? It's his 3rd touchdown.
How about the feet? Talk about having dead feet. He went to catch that ball and just ceased his steps, ceased his feet. Talk about listening to your feet. He was listening to them. They weren't saying anything. They were completely silent.
His hands weren't silent. Bush, contract year, playing maybe his finest game as a Miami Dolphin. And they have taken command totally now, 21-3.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Toyota Care, caring for you and your car. And by AT&T, rethink possible.
Reggie Bush has been changing the scoreboard today as the Dolphins have built a 21-3 lead. He has all 3 touchdowns, including a sensational end zone catch on the left, and now Kading kicking out off from way out of the end zone, touchback. I mean, because of the penalty, kicking off from the 50, so
there's Kyle Moore.
Easy pickings for
working against Jonathan Martin. He gets free of Martin, hits Tannehill, then look at him as he puts him to the ground, and that's where that personal foul came in, and that's why Miami was kicking from the 50-yard line. Man, what a nice job by Tannehill taking advantage of that matchup. Nick Barnett trying to cover Reggie Bush one-on-one is definitely a mismatch.
Sure is, and Tannehill is really showing an awful lot of poise. He only played 19 games at Texas A&M as a college quarterback. Draw play. Not much happening, and now you're almost at the point, Randy Cross, where the Bills have to come out of their game plan and start firing it all over the field, down 21-3.
Yeah, you're down 3 scores. There's no doubt your options for Chan Gailey and company are getting slimmer and slimmer in trying to take care of Ryan Fitzpatrick, because you're just going to be in putting situations where you're going to have 3 and 4 wide receivers, and your offensive line is going to have to just put up.
Stevie Johnson at the lower portion of your screen in press coverage against him out of the Dolphins. Here's the run. Spiller bouncing outside, putting out moves, getting the first down.
Remember, too, earlier in this half, Sean Smith went out. Brian McCann is in at corner, number 23, and he's the one that's drawing Stevie Johnson on a regular basis. When they're not running the ball, I would definitely go over and check out McCann and see how he's handling Stevie Johnson.
Spiller with 12 yards on that run, and the ball is now out to the Bills' 32-yard line. First and 10.
Sean Smith earlier this half went out with a bad knee.
Good defense by the Dolphins. Tony McDaniel, a big defensive tackle from Tennessee, throws aside the blocker and makes the stop.
Yeah, McDaniel working right there. Does a very nice job of just swallowing up Urbic, the offensive guard, getting rid of him, and then having a little tasty snack of a running back.
Miami's defensive coordinator, Kevin Coyle, told us that the Bills are probably as good as anybody out there running screens. Inside screens, outside screens, tight end screens. And they were spending a lot of time this week getting ready for that, but now Bills need big plays, down 21-3. Spiller on a short carry to the 35-yard line of the Bills, stopped by Vernon and Dansby. Third down comes up.
Well, it's still the third quarter. Chan Gailey and his football team are staying sort of true to their plan. They're not going to lay Fitzpatrick out and just say we're just going to throw the ball. They're continuing to run, but the time will come very shortly that you won't be able to do that.
Third down, Bills need 7. They're 1 of 6 on third down conversions today. 1 of 6. Blitzers all out. Live ball.
Was it moving forward, or was it an empty hand? It went straight up in the air. That usually indicates the empty hand. The ruling is it was a fumble. It was Cameron Wake, Don, coming from that defensive left side, offensive right, working against Sam Young. That ball was coming out, never had a chance to go forward. Perfect picture here. Yep, Cameron Wake, first thing he hit was the football. Next thing he hit was the quarterback. That was great technique pass rush wise, going after a quarterback and denying him the chance to throw the ball.
And that will go as a sack and strip.
I guess that's why you run the ball more than you throw it if you're Buffalo at this point, huh?
Without question. Now the Bills get the quarterback of the Dolphins, Marcel Darius, comes through, all 325 pounds.
He terrorized SEC defenses working against Mike Pouncey, the center. He squeezes right between Pouncey and Incognito, who kind of look at each other like, I thought you had him. No, I thought you had him. Well, Darius had himself a quarterback.
2nd and 18. Line to gain for the first, just inside the Bills' 20. Tannehill gets the ball slapped back at him. Making the play was Sean Merriman, now in his 8th year, who had some great years with the Chargers as a pass rusher.
Yeah, one of the great fun-loving sack dance celebrations. His charging up the Charger crowd, and he just gets his hand up, and Tannehill has that one just rejected right back into his face.
Right now, Randy, Jonathan Martin is having a hard time holding out those Bills rushers.
Yeah, he really is. He's going to need a little bit of help. He's got Darius now on the outside.
3rd and 18, a swing pass. Head to the 27 of the Bills is Armand Binns, a recent acquisition through waivers from Cincinnati.
It's going to put Nate Kading in a position to try another field goal. Remember what we said earlier on that extra point, though. have to shore things up inside, because between Carrington and Darius, they're getting penetration. It's all between the guard and center area there. Inside is where they're getting the work.
Kading, who has a career-long 57. This will be a 45-yarder officially, just inside the 36 hold. And it's on the way and down the middle, and the Dolphins continue their excellent day in their final home game of this season, building to a 24-3 lead. Dolphins kick off when we come back. Beautiful day, weather-wise and Miami Dolphin football-wise, as they turn 3 Buffalo turnovers into 17 points. Aerial coverage of today's game is provided by MetLife. Don Cricky with Randy Cross here at Sun Life Stadium. Our producer today for CBS Sports, Craig Silver. Director, Jim Cornell. The executive producers of CBS Sports are Sean McManus and Harold Bryant. From everyone on our crew, the happiest of holiday seasons to you as again as a kickoff out of the end zone. Coming up on the Subway postgame show, joined JB, Dan, Shannon Boomer, and Coach Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the Subway postgame show. The Bills playing hard, but too many mistakes again.
It definitely is. And for Buffalo, the formula has worked. Everything was fine until they started getting after Ryan Fitzpatrick. As soon as that happened, it was a different passing game.
They're now jamming the front. Dolphins dialing in blitzes. Penalty marker down as Fitzpatrick throws the ball away.
Well, that's a big-time hold, because Kevin Burnett was right in there.
Holding, number 85, offense, 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
Lee Smith, the tight end, in for the injured Scott Chandler, was hurt in the first quarter. Chandler with a leg injury.
Here's Smith working on the top of the screen there, working against Burnett. He knows Burnett's going to hit his quarterback. You can't get mad at a tight end for doing that. That's being willing to take that penalty to keep your quarterback from getting smacked.
And he's taking some shots. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 6'2", 225 pounds. First and 20. Drops to his 2. Over the top. T.J. Graham watches it sail out of bounds. Second and 20.
Not much in the way of pressure right there. Fitzpatrick just misfires trying to get the ball out to T.J. Graham, throws it about 2 feet over his receiver's head, because T.J. Graham had driven Brian McCann off the ball pretty well. He was open. It was going to be a completion.
Fitzpatrick under 100 yards passing for the day, and now they go to the Wildcat formation. Brad Smith straight ahead. Dolphins are all over it. Kevin Burnett.
His fellow linebacker, Carlos Dansby, but look at Burnett. He isn't influenced. He doesn't buy the run fake inside. He just never takes his eyes off Brad Smith, and rightfully so. You're not worried about Brad Smith beating you throwing the ball.
And the result, Randy, only a 1-yard gain. It's third down and 19 now for the Bills.
And Brad Smith was Tebow before Tebow with the Jets. They just used him less.
Bills need to advance out to their 30 for the first. Check down underneath. Stiller out of bounds. Inside the 20. Let's go back to New York to JB and Shannon.
Washington staring at the postseason.
Yes, JB, trying to hold on to that 4th seed by winning the NFC East. 22 yards, RG3. Toe touch, Santana Moss. 27-13. Redskins get some breathing room.
Don Cricky and my old partner, Randy Cross.
Okay, guys, right now, Buffalo Stumbling on third down again. They're 1 of 8 on third down conversion. Tries and they have to punt. Sean Powell, a high punt. Directionally placed in front of the Dolphin bench. Let's check a playoff picture. Coming more into focus now. Atlanta securing a home field with that win last night over Detroit. San Francisco, Green Bay, Washington. Washington still contending. Seattle looking strong. They scored 50 in their last 2 games.
Yeah, I know all the talk was about Calvin Johnson beating my old teammate Jerry Rice's season-long receiving yardage record. But I'll tell you what, that Atlanta Falcon football team last night for the 2nd game in a row. 2 games ago, they shut out the Giants, and they looked dominant last night. They'll have home field or dome field advantage through the Superdome if they can get to the Super Bowl.
And they're getting great quarterbacking now. Reggie Bush with 3 touchdowns today is thrown down at about the 40. Let's take a look at them now. Reggie Bush Day.
Yeah, you know, C.J. Spiller's had the flash in the yards, but Reggie's had the big plays. And it hasn't always had to be when he's running with the ball. The first one on a quick little flip. Second one on a very well blocked running play. And then on just a dead leg, beautiful catch on the sideline, getting both down for that touchdown.
Tannehill continues to impress with his management of the game. Not great numbers, but a lot of big plays when he had to have them. Could be a foul on the defense. There comes the flag. Brian Hartline on a stopping back. Gilmore back in the game.
It's a Stephon Gilmore who they took off earlier.
Pass interference, number 27, defense. First down.
It wasn't so much the contact and push, it was the pull back in the other direction where you saw the jersey stretch out that got Stephon Gilmore.
So the Dolphins methodically going about their work. See the Bills penalties building up. 8 penalties, 61 yards. The mark of a troubled team. A lot of penalties, and now Reggie Bush runs a slant and drives it to the Bills' 45. First down run, good for 5.
Here you see what Reggie Bush sees, and up front he's seeing some pretty good blocking. When you're getting through and the first 2 people you see are safeties, you're getting excellent blocking up front.
Mike Pouncey, Randy, getting that reach block on the linebacker.
Yeah, he and his brother Marquise up in Pittsburgh have very underrated lower body strength and ability to drive and reach like that.
2nd and 5.
Safety, hello.
Hartline hit hard into the 43-yard line of the Bills. Gilmore on the stop.
Well, this is the definition of really making something out of nothing, because play was very well played by Stephon Gilmore. He was right there to gobble it up, and somehow Hartline was able to actually get back to the line of scrimmage and make a little something.
Miami in command, 24-3 with a 3rd down and 3 coming up. Have to get to the Bills' 40. Trips receivers, 3 set to the right, 1 to the left for Tannehill. Bills bring pressure. Tannehill waits and delivers a first down throw to the Buffalo 33-yard line. Armand Binns going down and getting the ball.
Well, when it's your day, it's your day, and that rusher is coming. Tannehill stands in, gets rid of the ball, steps up away from the rush. Young man's got a real presence and feel to the way he plays quarterback. They've been looking for that here. Well, since Dan Marino left and went to the studio up in New York with us.
And the last guy that the Dolphins drafted the quarterback position in the first round was Dan Marino 29 years ago. That worked out. In fact, we came in on Dan Marino Drive. That's the end of the 3rd quarter with a score. The Miami Dolphins leading 24-3. Now this word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Ready to go again in South Florida. Dolphins with a commanding position now on the Bills, leading 24-3. 2nd and 8. Ball field. Tannehill covers. And the Dolphins will go to another offensive play. Down Cricky with Randy Cross. Reggie Bush in a contract year. Not a bad day. He's got 110 receiving and catching. 3 touchdowns.
And for the first time there, you saw the ball on the ground with a little misread or mishap with that read option. But Tannehill and company have been able to do that very well. He again is having a 50% day against this Buffalo defense, but he's getting a lot of quality where he's not getting quite the quantity.
There's no question. He is playing quality football at quarterback. And here's Reggie Bush going to the outside. Not a lot there on a long yardage play. 3rd and 12.
Now this is a long way to go for nothing, but man, is it worth seeing. Look at that spin move. Don't try that at home. After the game today, when you go outside and play catch with your kids, if you try to do that, you'll blow both knees out. That's an amazing athletic move by Reggie Bush.
Now Kading aligning for a 53-yard attempt. His career long at San Diego, 57.
Better get it up quick.
Oh, pooch punt. Bills had nobody back. Does hop into the end zone, and the Bills on a touchback will start from their 20. So Miami in command on their home field, 24-3. Back to South Florida. 24-3. Miami in the lead on the Bills. Bills now with a 1st and 10 at their 20. Bills only 2 first downs, only 44 yards offense in the second half. Screen play. Miami all over TJ Graham, rookie wide receiver from North Carolina State. Got the ball. Dansby was over quickly, diagnosing, making a stop.
You saw that last graphic. Really the story of this game, besides Reggie Bush taking advantage of those turnovers. 3 turnovers, 17 points off those turnovers for a defense that the last 7 games had only gotten 1 turnover. So they've really burst through in pretty fitting style for Joe Philbin.
Well, they have. As he said, you should be playing your best football in December, and the Dolphins are. They won last week, beat Jacksonville. They close it out at New England next week. Last report, Bengals and Steelers were tied 10-10. Of course, Miami's playoff hopes riding on all 3 of those teams. Miami, Cincy, Pittsburgh all finishing at 8-8. Miami would be in the AFC playoffs then by virtue of a better conference record. Houston playing great ball. Denver fighting it out now with New England really hoping for that second bye.
Remember, Denver made the playoffs last year at 8-8 coming out of the AFC West. Peyton Manning may prove to be at least worth 4 wins, if not 5, to that football team as a free agent signing.
You know, Randy, from the championship teams you played out with the 49ers, the great teams, the winners, they win the close games. This year, the Atlanta Falcons have been in a 1-point game, a 2-point game, a 3-point game, and a 4-point game. They won them all, and they won 2 6-point games.
And for some reason, you never hear Matt Ryan's name associated with the MVP award. And numbers-wise, he's had about as good a year as anybody.
Tremendous. Johnson gets the ball. He'd be better off. Now they're ruling it incomplete, which is better. Rashad Jones came up. It would have been a loss had he caught it.
The ball did not get back to the line of scrimmage, though, and he was throwing it where he did to avoid the sack by Paul Solier.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty after the play, 3rd down.
Well, it wasn't intentional grounding. It was Stevie Johnson chunking the ball after the play down the field.
He did catch it, and then he threw it. And it was Johnson who said during the week that everyone in this locker room should be feeling that their job is at risk.
Everybody in that building should feel that way. The heck of the locker room.
Fitzpatrick lets a long ball fly, and he is on target. The rookie T.J. Graham comes down with the ball on the 31-yard line of Miami.
And that was all because C.J. Spiller has done such a great job running the ball, gave him the time blocking for the blitz to enable Fitzpatrick to get the ball down the field to his receiver, Graham, for a 41-yard gain. Good blitz pickup.
In a long time since the Bills have been in this position on the plus side. It's like Fitzpatrick making a play change. Dolphins bring heat. Out pattern, well timed to Johnson. He's down to the 20-yard line.
You know, once again on that last play, 41 yards, but watch C.J. Spiller and what he does stepping across the quarterback's face to pick up the blitz. That was a free runner that Spiller got in the way of and blocked past his quarterback so that Fitzpatrick could throw that ball.
First down and 10 now for the Bills. Showing signs of life, but way down in the game. 24-3 with still 11 minutes to play. Bills announcing this week they have reached a long-term extension to continue to play at Ralph Wilson Stadium, named after the great part of pro football and the great gentleman Ralph Wilson, who brought the team to Buffalo in 1960 as part of the AFL and has kept them there. Fitzpatrick, time and throw. There's a foul. The guy had his arm, but nobody saw it. Good work by Dimitri Patterson. He hit it.
Patterson had his left arm, had T.J. Graham. You don't see it, it's not a foul.
Nope.
It's kind of like holding. It's only holding if they call it.
If you get caught, right now though, it's second down for the Bills. Second down and 10. 20-yard line of Miami, neutral zone. See if they were drawn off.
Neutral zone infraction, number 94, defense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Well, they were just egged into it by that little shift that the Buffalo Bills O-line made.
Tell you what kind of day, though, Randy, that the Dolphins are having.
That's their first penalty of the game. And if you've helped Stevie Johnson, too, as a defense to 2 catches for 19 yards, you've done one heck of a job.
Here comes the pressure. Throw downfield, incomplete. Fitzpatrick having a tough time stepping into the ball with the rush at him.
Yeah, if it's not Cameron Wake, in this case, it's Odrick coming from the defensive right side along with Carlos Dansby right into his face, and Fitzpatrick holds the ball for as long as he can, but he can't hold it long enough to let the receiver get open.
All right, third down and 5. Line to gain for the first down is the Miami 10-yard line. Line of scrimmage at 15.
Stevie Johnson, man coverage up top.
All-out blitz. There's the throw and a catch. Down to the 10-yard line, and it looks like the spot's going to be for a first down. Good play by the veteran Rubel Martin, a big, rangy wide receiver in his 7th year, coming back at the ball.
Yeah, a gunner on special teams. Makes his money, man, has made his living as a special teams player. Runs an excellent route and then hangs on to the ball. Gets himself a first down.
So just inside the Dolphins' 10, it is first down and goal for the Bills. Dolphins bringing blitzers more and more as the game wears on. Draw play. Look at Spiller. He just loses people. He's not done losing them. All the way down to the 3-yard line. Get a look from Spiller at work.
Well, here it is. Well, they don't get a flag. They don't get 2 hands below the waist. Oh, that's right, it's tackle. And it takes them up until about a 2-yard line to actually get a tackle on C.J. Spiller. That was, I guess, elusive. Would be giving Spiller credit, and getting a little lazy on technique would be the other way to look at it from the defensive standpoint.
Spiller on a losing day for his team with Pro Bowl numbers, 20 carries, 135 yards, including breaking a 61-yard run. side it goes to Smith, and he comes in and crosses the goal line. Touchdown Bills. So well executed inside slant. And the Bills are on the board with their first touchdown.
And, Buffalo takes advantage. Miami has a bit of a lull. Not a bit of a lull, they have a lull. They get up 24-3, and on this last little drive, Buffalo really took it to them and gets himself a score to pull the 24-10.
Extra point will make it 24-10 as the Bills finally get downfield and get the ball in on a touchdown throw. 12-play drive, 80 yards. Officially a 2-yard scoring pass. But Spiller has been shouldering the load all day. He has been the Buffalo offense front.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Kia Motors and the Sorrento crossover. Learn more at kia.com. And by the Samsung Galaxy S3. The next big thing is already here.
Something to cheer about. Santa's helpers down here in South Florida, as the Dolphins now leading 24-10 after the Bills' 2-yard scoring pass. Lindell kicks off, carries short. Here comes the very fast Marcus Thigpen. Marcus is a man of many talents. He can run, catch, return kicks. Create is going to stick. Thought your fantasy season was over? Well, it's not. NFL Playoff Challenge is back and better than ever. You could win a trip to Super Bowl 48 in 2014. Play today at NFL.com/fantasy. Ryan Tannehill, the 24-year-old rookie quarterback from Texas A&M, drafted in the first round in the shotgun. Dolphins capitalizing 17 points off 3 Buffalo turnovers. Tannehill somehow gets free. He really listened to him. He said to him, well, as Philbin said, he takes instruction very seriously. If you tell him to do something, he's going to do it. And they told him today to look for the run.
Well, Tannehill was not only listening to his feet, he was listening to Kyle Williams' feet and Darius's feet, and the front of that Buffalo defense coming in, and that pocket was collapsing. Did a nice job of getting out of there at all.
Second down and 8. 8:05 to play in the game. Lamar Miller, the rookie from the University of Miami, looking good on a running play as he's finally taken down by safety George Wilson. Here's today's performance.
Yeah, and Hartline had a quiet week, and he's had a quiet game, but between Tannehill and Reggie Bush, that has been this offense. That and an absolutely excellent effort by this offensive line for Miami, especially inside, that has really blocked for Reggie Bush and company very, very well.
Hartline, who's had a great year, not a good one, and playing despite an injury today. His production limited, but he's out there giving it his all every snap of the ball when he's in. First and 10. To the 36-yard line of the Dolphins on a first down, a gain of only about a yard. And Kyle Williams and Sean Merriman combine on the stop for the Bills.
Timeout for the Buffalo Bills.
Correction. Full timeout.
24-10 is the count. Dolphins on top.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Get to a better state with a discount double check. And by Best Buy. What will your gift do?
We're back and ready to go. Don Criqui with Randy Cross. Miami Dolphins, 24-10 lead, fourth quarter. Second down and 9 from their 35. Reggie Bush with 3 touchdowns. Comes wide, gets a little. Coming up on the Subway postgame show, Join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the Subway postgame show. It's interesting, Randy, Steve Ross, who owns the Dolphins, at the press conference when they introduced Ryan Tannehill, he held up his jersey 17. He said, maybe someday this will be in the Hall of Fame. It's a long way off, but the guy is certainly making progress.
No lack of confidence there in his young quarterback, but there's enough pressure being a Dolphin quarterback because of Dan Marino's accomplishments. I wouldn't add to it.
Tannehill looking to run. When they grab a quarterback, they go down particularly hard.
Yeah, they really do. And, you know, Tannehill's done a very nice job of running and listening to those feet. And this Miami offense has over 180 yards rushing today. And that's been something that has truly vexed Buffalo. And something Dave Wanstead talked about is we really haven't handled running quarterbacks very well, and that theme has continued today because they definitely haven't handled Tannehill very well when he's running.
Here's the punt. Hit down to Justin Rogers of the Bills by Brandon Fields. Into the run. And some more. Matt Dundally's out close to the 29-yard line. And a penalty marker comes in after the tackle. And the Dolphin is down.
McIntyre might have taken a late shot on somebody, got himself a flag. McIntyre for Buffalo.
During the return, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, blindside block, number 38, receiving team. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Corey McIntyre, the captain of the Bills special teams, in ill humor after the way things have gone the last couple of weeks.
Getting himself a late block.
38
was the call away from the ball, and that's something the league is doing an excellent job right now, is taking care of defenseless players.
And that, Randy, is the 10th penalty on the Bills today.
There's McIntyre there, and he comes late and just gets an earhole shot. Besides the fact that it's away from the ball, it's up in the upper body into the head area, which is also something they're heavily dissuading.
The disease up and appears to be okay. Randy, you played on a couple of bad 49er teams, 2-14 one year, 2-14 the next year, 6-10 the next year, and then Shazam.
Yeah, then it was 16-3, and
you won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the key to me really is besides the obvious of good players. I mean, we had some Hall of Famers that either joined the team that year or were already on the team. It's the belief. It's the momentum from one year to the next. It's the ability to spend those off seasons really believing what the coaches are doing. I think that's something that Buffalo has been trying to chase since their Super Bowl years, and Miami seems to at least got the feel that they've got a guy in Joe Philbin and some talent on his team they really believe in.
Philbin was at Green Bay the last 9 years, 5 as the offensive coordinator. See now if Ryan Fitzpatrick can move the Bills again downfield against a big rush. He can't on that play. Olivier Vernon, former Hurricane from Miami, making the stop.
The bright future goes back to their quarterback, the 5 picks in the first 3 rounds coming up in this upcoming draft, and the decision has to be made. The number 1 pick a few years back, 5 years ago, Jake Long, their left tackle. When he's healthy, he's the best tackle in the league, but he hasn't been healthy much. What are they going to do with him and his number?
Yeah, he's a pro player, really, but he's been hurt the last 2 years. And look at that, Fitzpatrick motoring, getting out of bounds across the 20. Well short of a first down. 3rd long coming up. Next Sunday, the NFL on CBS closes out the regular season with doubleheader action, subject to flexible scheduling. Check local listings beginning with JB, Dan, Coach, Shannon, and Boomer on the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines. Dolphins hoping for the best. Looking to close on a 3-game run. They get to 8-8. They have to win again next week at New England. Picks and a throw underneath. Nicely done. And the tackle on the run is the ever-elusive C.J. Spiller, who's quietly emerging as one of the best players in the NFL.
Well, they go empty, and they move Spiller out to the quarterback's left in the slot and just let him be almost like a returner. Get him the ball in the air and let him use that natural elusive quality that he has to get away from the defenders.
14-yard gain.
Bengals and Steelers still locked up at 10-10.
Underneath it goes to Brad Smith, and he works his way ahead on a first down catch and run for a gain of 9 yards. 2nd and 1 from just inside the Bills' 40. Fitzpatrick working plays quickly. Now he takes time to check the defense, but going to the formation right away. Here's a throw. Too high, looking for Doran Dickerson. Broken up by Chris Clemens. And there's a penalty marker down.
Fitzpatrick took a shot to the head. Jared Odrick, coming from the inside possession, was trying to swat at the ball, and I think he got Fitzpatrick raked him across the eyes.
Roughing the passer, number 98, defense, contact to the quarterback's head. It's a 15-yard penalty, first down.
There's Odrick, 98, coming across. Just rakes his hands across the face mask into the eyes of Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick wasn't intentional, but nonetheless, anything that has to do with the head or face of the quarterback is going to be a penalty.
Ball down to now on the penalty mark off to the 45-yard line of the Dolphins. Lead the game 24-10 with the 4:04 left to play.
Alpha.
Delayed draw. Penalty marker from behind. Could be an offensive hold.
Personal foul, face mask, number 77, offense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Cordy Glenn. Wasn't a hold, but it was a face mask grab. One way to slow him down also. It's another kind of holding.
Hey, grab him by the face mask, they're not going to get away from you. Yeah, at some point, the sense of urgency has to kick in for Buffalo. There's now less than 4 minutes to go. You're down by 2 scores.
Long yardage play coming up to the Bills. First down and 25. On the game, the 35-yard line of the Dolphins. And they come down underneath, and Stevie Johnson makes a play. Ball is out and across midfield to the 45-yard line. A 15-yard gain on the play.
Gets it back into a 2nd and 10 situation, Don, and gets you back at least approximately near the sticks. Need about half this for something reasonable on 3rd down.
2nd and 10 it is. Here's a throw a little bit behind the slant runner. Johnson. That brings up 3rd down and 10, and it's obviously 4-down territory.
Yeah, Stevie Johnson working against Dimitri Patterson. Not real experienced in this Dolphin defense, but he's been manning up a lot and does a very nice job on that play of protecting the inside area, so left nowhere for Fitzpatrick to throw that ball.
Patrick is 17 of 30 for 205 yards. 1 touchdown. He's not been intercepted. He has been hit a lot. He won't take a step back. He is tough. Lob ball downfield, and even with the pressure, he almost connected, did Fitzpatrick. Odrick was coming hard again.
It's an offsides against the Miami Dolphins defense.
So instead of 4th and 10, it's 3rd and 5 again.
Defense. 5-yard penalty.
3rd down
Still
again,
3rd down.
gain 5.
Calling that one against Odrick. That's his 2nd one on this drive. Just got off too early, and he's the one with the contact into the quarterback, which you're going to jump offsides and whack yourself in the head for penalty.
Bills were only 2 of 12 on third downs in the previous game in November when they beat Miami. Today they're 5 of 12. This is a third down and 5 for the Bills. Have to get to the 35-yard line of the Dolphins. 24-10 Miami. Out pass, timing throw. Coming in with the ball at the 30 for a first down is Stevie Johnson. Ryan McCann covering as best he could on the play.
Yeah, that's really a nice play by Stevie Johnson, driving back towards his quarterback. Presents the quarterback that body, the target to go to, and just drives across the defensive back's face.
Bills have to pick up the tempo with under 3 minutes to go and down by 14. First down throw. Second down and 10 from the Miami 30. So now needing 10 yards, the Bills come out of the huddle. When you look back at Miami getting those 17 points off 3 Buffalo turnovers, that's where the Dolphins really capitalized.
Well, there's a difference between 2 quarterbacks. See Ryan Tannehill sitting on the sideline laughing and joking. Look at Fitzpatrick. He looks like the picture of frustration.
Winners tell jokes. Losers say deal. Right now ready to deal. The ball is Fitzpatrick downfield. And he keeps throwing to Dickerson. Nothing happens.
I'll tell you, Jimmy Wilson, the safety, really lucky there wasn't any contact here. Ball was thrown a little bit behind it. Wilson came through pretty high on that one. If he'd have made contact, that would have been a flag.
A very, very important part of the Buffalo offense. Scott Chandler went out in the first quarter with a leg injury. Now Dickerson being looked at.
So far today, one of the stories of this game, not so much just Fitzpatrick, has been Stevie Johnson's frustration. He fumbles early, Sean Smith, before he went out. Makes him fumble. He drops that catch in the act of the catch. Ball's called incomplete. Said it hit the ground. He throws it forward, gets a delay of game penalty. It's been a universally frustrating game for Stevie Johnson.
So when play resumes, and right now, unfortunately, Dickerson is still down. Doran Dickerson, an undersized tight end who played at Pitt. Still being looked at. The game clock stopped with 2:40 left to play. Dolphins built that commanding lead early, and now the Bills are rallying late, but is it going to be too little too late for Chan Gailey and his Bills?
We'll look at later in the play. Comes down kind of twisting. Gets that right ankle hit as Wilson went over the top, hit him right in the side of the ankle.
Surprise today. Word coming in that the Texans have lost today. So they get their 3rd defeat. Now 12-3 with 1 to go. Denver 11-3 behind the really remarkable play of Manning. 2 minutes to go between Cincy and Pittsburgh, and they're tied at 10-10. Of course, the long shot, the mathematical formula for the Dolphins to make the playoff. Miami, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati would all have to finish at 8-8. Then the Dolphins would get in as a wild card by virtue of a better AFC record.
They're putting the air cast there on Dickerson before they load him in the cart. And you know, speaking of the Denver Broncos and what they're doing this year, you know, one of the great races besides the MVP watch is that comeback player of the year. Kind of a toss-up between Peyton Manning and Adrian Peterson for that too. But when it comes to MVP, you got to also add in Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. And like I mentioned earlier, Don, you know, maybe you still have to start saying a little bit of something about Matt Ryan and the job he's done in Atlanta.
Yeah, good point with that. Well, he's been tremendous. And they, of course, are on the Super Bowl track. All the NFC playoff games they're in will be at their home stadium in a dome. And of course, the Super Bowl on CBS, Super Bowl 47 on February 3rd in the New Orleans Superdome. Wednesday in primetime, JB, Phil Simms, and Chris Collinsworth showcase America's favorite game with their own unique style inside the NFL, Wednesday on Showtime.
I love that realistic look at the Lombardi Trophy, because usually it's stylistic and it's from the sides and there's lights on it. That shot with the promo there for all the fingerprints all over it. It's been handled.
All right, three down. Hey, lazy.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, 18 for 33, 215 yards and a touchdown. Third down coming up, 3rd and 10. Line to gain for the first down is the Dolphins 20. Miami in command of the game, 24-10. Here comes pressure. They pick it up, throw and catch down inside the 25-yard line, but well short of the first down. TJ Graham makes the catch on an underneath pattern.
So now it's 4th and 5. Talk about that control. You get a quick touchdown here. The next 30 seconds or so on the clock, that control becomes a little more tenuous.
2:17 to go. Dolphins by 14. Bills need almost 5 on this 4th down play.
The first charge timeout.
So they
Miami.
make a wise
30-second timeout.
They'll talk it over.
2:13 on the game clock, please. 2:13.
And Buffalo's been able to take advantage of just a little bit of the stinger going out of this Miami D. Just not quite as aggressive, not quite imposing their will on the Bills during these last couple of drives. And whether it's been having to take a crack in the mud to get it, but Fitzpatrick has really stepped up leading this team.
Joe Philbin in his first year looking for his 7th win, and they had all those close losses we were mentioning. The Dolphins, really a 3-point loss to the Jets, 3-point loss to Arizona, 3-point loss to the Colts, 5-point loss to the Bills. And the way Tannehill is rising, Randy, this could be a formidable team next year.
Especially if this defense stays intact, stays whole.
Quarterback keeping now. Ryan Fitzpatrick calls his own number behind his center, and they zip right ahead. Eric Wood playing injured and playing well. Kevin Coyle, who is the defensive coordinator for the Dolphins, was with Fitzpatrick at Cincinnati when Ryan played there. He said, I can tell you 3 things about him. He's got a big arm, he's smart, and he is tough. With Randy Cross, this is Don Criqui. Back in Davie, Florida, at the home of the Dolphins. Bills driving late in the game. 2 minutes to go. Bills down by 14. To the draw play to C.J. Spiller, who's had a big yardage day again today. Way over 100 yards.
Finally, a little sense of urgency to this Buffalo offense. But not much.
Spiller, 21 carries, 137 yards so far for the Bills. And not any rush to get the ball snapped. Miami rushes 3. On target. Ball is taken in and down by Giselle Martin, down close to the goal line. Carlos Dansby makes the stop, but now the Bills challenging, but time is such a factor, Randy.
Yeah, excellent protection and great zippage on the ball. Fitzpatrick just spins that thing into Giselle Martin, and that's the key to performing when you're really needed. So that next man up attitude, and Giselle Martin has been that next man up in this Buffalo offense.
Bills out of timeouts. Andrew Luck And the Indianapolis Colts have clinched a playoff spot in the American Conference. The American Football Conference is a win today.
And through the course of this day today, Andrew Luck went over 4,000 yards and broke Cam Newton's record from last year for passing yards by a rookie quarterback with one more game to go. So he'll just add on to that.
Bills first and goal from the 1. The Bills have lost 9 of their last 11 close games, namely games decided by 7 points or less. They get this touchdown point. They will be down by 7 with not much time left. Intercepted. What a play. Rashad Jones, who grades out as the Dolphins' best defensive back. The third-year safety from Georgia grabs the ball out of midair. And Miami puts a lock on this game if, in fact, they hadn't long ago. 4th turnover this game for the Bills.
There's Rashad Jones. Man, talk about athleticism and hand-eye coordination. There's a ball meant to be thrown about 15, 20 yards to the outside, and he just snares it and snags it. Well, Miami's done everything they could for their formula of getting themselves into the playoffs. That Cincinnati-Pittsburgh game still tied at 10.
So a great finish for the Dolphins this season and still in the playoff chase. The executive producers of the NFL on CBS are Sean McManus and Harold Bryant. Today's game was produced by Craig Silver and directed by Jim Cornell. Senior producer of CBS Sports and the NFL Today is Eric Mann. The NFL Today is directed by Bob Mattina. The coordinating producer of the NFL on CBS is Lance Barrow. The senior coordinating producer of CBS Sports is Steve Karasik. The creative director of CBS Sports is Peter Radovich Jr. The associate director of today's game, Steve McKee. The broadcast associate, Kelsey Kimball. Technical manager, Beth Tura. The technical director is Frank Madrose, and the auto supervisor is Jay Willis, and we thank them all, the men and women of CBS Sports, as the Joe Philbin-led Miami Dolphins now are 7-8, and they're still in business, albeit still a long shot. For Randy Cross, this is Don Crickey. A very good performance by Philbin and his team, getting better week by week. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Now for the Subway postgame show.